What's up? Welcome back. We're so glad to be back. Thank you for tuning in for Combat Insiders. Nick and Josh, as always. We've had a really busy, last couple weeks. We just got back from Cancun. We covered the Bare Knuckle FC number 4 card down there, and it was amazing. Met a lot of great people. I really don't even know where to start. I guess let's just kind of jump right into the card, Nick. It was a stacked card. We knew going into it was a stacked card from top to bottom, and it really didn't disappoint at all. I guess let's just jump right into it. I guess you want to start at the top, work our way down. I mean, we do all this stuff live on there, baby. So let's just start. You want to start at the top, start at the bottom? Where do you want to go, Nick?
We'll start in the order we watch the fights. How about that?
Let's do that. All right. So, the first fight was the Shannon Rich Omar Molina fight, right? And
yeah.
Wow. Both guys are amazing, super nice. They gave us a lot of their time leading up to the event, but there had to be one person with the W, and it was Shannon the Cannon. And they call him Shannon the Cannon for a reason, and that's what happened. He, Omar got a taste of the cannon, and it was nasty. It was quick. What was the official time on that?
26 seconds.
26 seconds. So
inside the first round.
26 seconds inside the first round. Got a taste of the cannon, and it was. And what did he do? Talk about what he did after the fight, Nick.
Who?
Shannon the Cannon. Who did he call out?
Well, as everybody would know, he'd be on the mic calling out Bobby Gunn, and he's still doing it today, actually, as we speak, on Twitter. I've seen it pop up. So, I don't know. To me, man, that fight kind of makes sense in the States, maybe. They both separately have agreed that that's the fight that should happen, or they want to happen.
Yep.
We saw the videos where they met face-to-face about it. I don't think the fight made as much sense in Mexico. I think there would have been a bigger market for it here, but who knows? The boss man, Dave Feldman, he's a smart guy. So I'm sure if that fight is supposed to happen, it will, when it's supposed to happen. So I'd like to see it, just after talking to both guys and seeing them go back and forth. I think it's something. I think it's something that bare knuckle fans would want to see.
Well, like you said, they've gone back and forth for years, man. They were supposed to fight. What was it, like 3, 4, 5 years ago or something like that, and it just never quite came to fruition. And I think it is. I think it's unfinished business on both guys' part. And I think it's something that kind of has to happen.
Right.
I think they both kind of need it, right? I think not need it in the sense of validation or nothing like that, but I think they need it in the sense of like a sense of completion.
They just need to know. Yeah,
I think Shannon Rich needs to know. I think Bobby Gunn needs to know, and I think the fans need to know, right? And I think it's a huge opportunity for a huge grudge fight, and I think BKFC is the appropriate arena for that, that fight. So, I know we're definitely looking forward to that. We'll be keeping tabs on that. We heard Shannon Rich's response post-fight. Check out our YouTube for that. So he gave a really interesting shout-out to Bobby Gunn for that. So, so we can't wait for that. So the next fight, I guess just kind of moving right along, is Jose Rales versus Azteca Aguilar. He won via unanimous decision.
That fight was impressive to me.
Yeah.
Because I did have it scored unanimous decision. I don't disagree with the judging, but it's like neither one had any interest in stopping or not moving forward in that fight. I mean, they were throwing down, and the heritage Mexican fighters, they're all tough. Well, these two guys went out there and legit proved it. Actually, a bunch of the fights that were both Mexico fighters, you could see in the fights. I mean, Rales kind of pieced him up the whole fight, but it did not stop the forward movement, which was absolutely welcomed in the arena, and everybody loved it. They were going crazy, man.
Yeah, we did a in the post-fight interview with him. He was really gracious and he was really proud. I think he was really proud to win on that kind of stage, and like everybody heard me say a million times, it was a huge show, the first international card, obviously, the whole USA versus Mexico thing. Now, I guess let me say, and this is kind of a common theme, I guess, with all the fighters. Like, it was a kind of cool little twist, USA versus Mexico. But these guys didn't hate each other.
No.
There was a lot of respect on both sides. Everybody's just really everybody's really proud, man, and it was just an awesome show. And he was really proud. He was proud of his team. He was proud of his country. He was proud of the show. He was proud just to be a part of it. And I think BKFC gave him that platform. And he was really grateful and really humble. So,
was he the fighter that we found that little tidbit about what he did as work?
No. That's the next guy.
That's the next fight.
That's the next guy. Fight. Yeah. So moving. So the Sergio Herrera defeats the Jesus Quevedo at the end of at the beginning of round 4. Right. That guy Sergio. We had found out later. We got the translator Tarzan, who was the international matchmaker.
Shout out Tarzan Martin.
He was the translator for it, and he just kind of pulled me aside. I think, if I'm not mistaken, and I hope I don't, Tarzan, please correct me if I'm wrong on this. I think you were saying that you were training this guy, or he trains at your gym, or something to that extent. So he knew the kid, outside of that fight too, and he was like, man, you'll never believe what this guy does. He sells like food, or sells hot dogs, or sells tacos. That's what it was. Yeah, the kid sells tacos, and here he is, on the prelims of a huge pay-per-view card, and wow, and he won, and it was just, it was a really cool moment. It was a really cool, like Rocky-esque moment for this kid. Went from probably a week ago, dude was making tacos for somebody, and here he is on the prelim of a pay-per-view. It's just
and he was short notice, too. He took the fight on, 2 weeks' notice.
Yeah.
So, shout out to him, man. Great job to come out there and just leave it all out there.
Yeah, 100%, man. Yeah, I can't... stories like that is really... it makes it great to cover things like this, man. When you get that kind of real-life underdog, real-life Rocky moment kind of thing. And that's one of them.
Right.
That really is one of them. Moving on... Travis
pay-per-view.
Pay-per-view card. Travis Animal Thompson defeats Ivan Rocka via almost death is what we call it, because
it was scary.
Ivan Rocka took a hell of a fall right in front of us in the second round. So, man, Travis, they call him Travis Animal Thompson for a reason, and that's exactly what he was Saturday night. He was a freaking animal. And, Ivan Rocka, props to him. He went out there and gave it what he could. But, like I said, Travis is an animal for a reason, and that's what he displayed Saturday night.
You know what, though? You knew going into that fight, because we had the chance to we actually had a chance to sit and eat, go out to dinner with some of these guys, and, catch up with them around the hotel.
Oh, yeah.
You could just tell before even saying hello, just his demeanor, like he was there, to be a wrecking crew.
Yeah.
And I like you said, man, Ivan Rocka, he took some shots. He got up, dusted himself off. The last one, I mean, when it's on the button, it's just on the button. It's not a toughness factor. But for the round and a half that it went, it was they were throwing down, man. I'm going to say that a million times during this, and I'm going to feel stupid. But really, every fight. There was a couple that were slow-esque.
Yeah.
But for the most part, man, these guys were all there, both sides, Team USA, Team Mexico, both there, ready to just. It was just cool, like you said. These guys were out there representing their countries, not in a hateful way.
Right.
There was none of that going on, but
just in a prideful way. It was just a pride thing.
They embraced the idea,
Yeah. It was just a little extra icing on the cake, I think, and that's all it was.
Yeah.
It was just a little extra sportsmanship, a little extra, just a little extra on the side, and I think that's all it was. There was no animosity, nothing like that. The crowd was amazing, and they were super into it, man. That Mexican crowd was something I've never experienced, in person like that, and I've heard, I've heard people talk about, wait till you get in front of like a Mexican crowd, like, and, wrestling, fights, stuff like that. They just go nuts, and it was pretty amazing. Moving right up, so God, I hope I say his name right. Alejandro, I hope I don't butcher that name. I apologize, my friend.
Alejandro Solazano.
Goliath. I know it's a big fucking dude.
Yeah, he was.
He defeated Eric the Viking Leander, and we talked to both of them too. I talked to Eric prior and talked to Alejandro afterwards, and both really nice guys, both grateful guys, both humble guys. But they're also both two very big fucking savages.
Yeah.
And somebody had to get the W, right? And wow, that was a bloodbath. Eric's nose, I think they said it was broke or something afterwards.
Yeah.
He kind of got his nose kind of jacked up a little bit, but man, they both gave it everything they had. Man, they both left it out there. Two big boys, two big heavyweights, man, and someone's gonna get hurt when you see two big boys like that go in there, and it was no different with that. Both of those guys. Go ahead.
This fight for me was kind of odd though, because as I was doing the recap, I scored the fight my own score, and this just shows that like fighting pride, man. I had Eric Leander ahead, 3-0. I thought they were kind of cut and dry rounds too. He was moving forward, doing the damage, but the Goliath man landed, and the damage. I believe it looked like Eric wanted to continue, but the doctors stopped that fight.
Right.
Because he was leaking.
Yeah.
He was leaking a little bit.
Yeah.
So I kind of feel bad because he was winning the fight, and he wanted to continue, but you know what? That's what the staff from BKFC, they hire the doctors, they get people there. It's to keep these guys safe. So while I would have loved to see that fight finish, knowing what was going to come, it's probably a good thing that they stopped it. Because there's no reason for anybody to get damaged.
Yeah.
Like
100%.
permanent.
Yeah.
So,
100%.
Unfortunate, but necessary.
Yeah, 100%. Tom Shoaf defeats Diego Gardardo with TKO doctor stoppage.
Dos pistoles. Yeah, man.
Round 4. That was an absolute war.
Oh, yeah.
It was, and you know what? We talked to both of them prior to that, and they both had the same word, fireworks, for their fight. And it was absolute fireworks. It was everything that I expected, to happen. The first fight ended very quickly with Diego getting the finish for the first go around, and this one, like I said, I wasn't shocked at how both those guys fought. They're both just the truest sense of the form, and I know you hate this word a lot, but. The truest sense of the form, it's I don't know what else to call it, was just a fucking warrior. I really don't know what else to call it. They went out there, put everything on the line. Diego got knocked down several times. That dude was right back up. He was only up long enough to take the recommended, the mandatory 8 count, and then got right back up and was right back in it. I mean, he got his, he had a cut, I think he said, on the inside of his mouth, and it kind of ballooned up, but his heart was in it. His heart never left, and just wow. I mean,
the planning. I like Tom's planning because we got to talk to him after.
Yeah.
The first fight they went out there and threw down. He rang Diego's bell. I have no idea how this man recovered. To come back and finish. And we talked to Tom after, and he said he knew that Diego was a bigger guy, a stronger guy, and he hit harder. So he went back to boxing. He boxed the brawler.
Yeah.
And I don't want to take anything away from Diego. He landed some. There were some clean shots in there that could have been night if Tom didn't roll off the punches or whatever. And I'm not overly confident that he wanted to stop. No. I feel like every time he got up, the doctor stopped it, and he was kind of like, "What the fuck? I'm ready to go."
I think Diego, and this is over. I mean, I think Diego would have died in that ring. I mean, seriously, I think he kind of had that attitude. He didn't want to stop. And just like you said, Tom outboxed Diego. Tom played the range game. Tom played, kept him at the end of his jab. And it was the smart thing to do because, as I talked about with both of them, every time that Diego kind of got him in that kind of got him against the ropes in that position and tried to turn into a slugfest, there was almost a moment of panic, because all it takes is for one clean shot and somebody's going down. But, Tom did an excellent job at keeping his game plan and making it his fight. And that was really the story of that fight. He kept him at that range. And like I said, Diego, man, that dude did not want to quit. There is no quit in him.
No.
And that was
and a nice guy outside of the fight.
Super nice guy.
Super nice guy.
Super nice guy. I think for me that was probably if I had to put one or two favorite fights of the night, like for me that was one of my favorite fights on the card. And that's no disrespect to anybody else. That's just
right.
That fight. It was really cool to me. Like I said, it showed the game planning and the technical skills of Tom, and it showed the freaking heart of Diego. And it was just, it was a lot of things rolled up to me in one fight. And I cannot wait. I hope, David Feldman, I hope you get these guys at number 3.
I'd be a liar if I said I didn't want to see it.
Yeah, I really hope it happens. Give us some time. Let him recover. Get him on the London card or the Mexico City card. Maybe Mexico City, that might be a good spot for that fight too. But I don't know. I'm just saying I don't want to speak for them, but I would love to see the rematch once they're all healed up. And
oh, yeah.
Just absolute amazing. But moving on, Joe Diesel Riggs defeated Rudo Tovar. I didn't see a whole lot of this fight. I was in the back, so I guess Nick kind of speak on this fight.
Joe Riggs, no matter how people feel about him, some people like him, some people don't like him. He put in work.
Yeah.
This fight.
Yeah.
Very, very technically sound. Did everything right. But man, Rudo Tovar. Kid's young.
Yeah.
Kid's got hands.
Yeah.
Kid's got talent. I hope and pray that we see him back for bare knuckle, because to go against somebody like Riggs doesn't matter. This kid is nowhere near the experience level, and he got knocked down. He got back up multiple times. He took shots. He's tough. He's got raw skill and talent. Yeah. He's technically sound, but there's levels to this game. So while Riggs did get unanimous decision, 50-45, I did score it the same way. I hope and don't think that this will be the last time that we see Rudo Tovar inside the squared circle. I think he's got a future here.
I did get a chance to talk to Joe Riggs afterwards, and he was talking. He had broken his hand, I think, in like 2 or 3 spots. And said he was essentially fighting with one hand for most of the fight. But he was talking about how it could be, this could be his last run. He's close to maybe possibly hanging it up, but said it was something that he was going to have to talk about. But Joe Riggs, I've watched Joe Riggs for since I've been following MMA. Bare knuckle. I've watched him for a long time, so I get it. Everybody kind of has their, I don't want to call it expiration. I feel like that sounds disrespectful, but everybody has their run, and if that is the case, Joe Riggs, it was an honor, man. It was cool to especially get a chance to see you fight live, and you've been an amazing martial artist throughout your whole career. So I hope it's not the end. Selfishly, I hope it's not the last time. But hey, man, I get it. But no, it was an awesome fight, and like you said, Tovar, man.
You know what else was nice about the fight? They had a very heated weigh-in, stare down. Yeah. There was some shoving going on.
Yeah.
All this stuff. Like, I don't want to say they disliked each other, but you didn't see them really cross paths a lot.
Yeah.
In mingling.
Yeah.
And I thought it was kind of a cool moment. One, at the end of the fight, Riggs gave him his medal. Put the medal on him, which is really just class and respect. Yeah. And he even had good words to say about him, said this kid has a future, blah, blah, blah. So, man, I hope to see them both again, selfishly. we want to see Joe Riggs back, but I'm certain that Rudo Tovar will pop up again without question. I can't see a situation where he wouldn't.
All right, next fight is the Hillbilly Hammer, Mr. Hammer, is what we call him.
Yeah.
Against man, I don't want to.
Jaime,
that's right. I apologize, Jaime. I apologize. Arevalo, yeah. Jaime Arevalo. He won split decision. Of course, I think both guys kind of thought maybe they could have had their own argument to win that fight. You know, Hillbilly Hammer talked to him afterwards, of course, and he thought, obviously, probably thought it should have been more unanimous. You know, and Jaime was obviously I don't want to say the least experienced, but he was the lesser known guy coming into this, and he was a short notice opponent too, because Shoemaker's original opponent, something happened. I don't remember exactly what happened to that, but it got changed, and he stepped in and taking on the Hillbilly Hammer on short notice. Taking on the Hillbilly Hammer on a full camp is a tall order. Taking on the Hillbilly Hammer on a short notice camp is, it's dangerous, you know.
It was that fight though, and unfortunately, like if you're reading about what people think, they thought it was a slower fight or not as exciting, and it was one of the slower fights. But I think they respected each other's power.
Yeah.
And it kind of looked to me
yeah.
like Sam was playing more of an offensive game, moving forward, trying to engage in let's bang it out. Not that it's the most exciting way to do it, but Jaime fought the fight smart.
He was fighting more defensively.
He tried to pick his shots. He moved out.
Yeah.
So while it doesn't have the whole wow factor, you have to appreciate the technical boxing side of it. And I mean, I thought it was a good fight still. Obviously, when you go to watch these kind of things, what do you want to see? You want to see big hits. You want to see knockouts and stuff like that. But you can appreciate a good technical fight. And that's what it was.
Yeah, 100%. Chris Lights Out Lytle versus JC Yamas.
There it is. Let's go.
Okay, well, first off, leading up to this, so JC Yamas basically bet the boss that if he couldn't knock out Chris Lytle in the first round, that he would bet half his purse, and if he could knock him out, the boss would give him extra money on top of his purse. So we knew what the game plan was. Well, going into this, what JC Yamas' plan was. It was no surprise, right?
No.
And
Chris Lytle had the same plan, though.
Oh yeah, Chris Lytle had the same plan, and he was cool. He was like, man, people. How many fights in my career have people been trying to come out and knock my head off in the first round? He was like, you know, at this point,
he's never been knocked out in 80 fights.
Yeah, so we knew what was going on, but JC Yamas couldn't get the knockout. But man, it was an exciting fight from start to finish, and Chris Lytle won that unanimous decision. And I just, you know, both guys are so good. JC Yamas is so good. Chris Lytle is so good. He's such a veteran of the sport. You know, JC Yamas made one of his points going into the fight was, you know, to be a legend, you got to beat a legend, right? But man, giving Chris Lytle a run for his money like that, he's on a good path already. You know?
Absolutely.
And I think he gained a lot of respect from a lot of people, and I'm sure he made a whole lot more fans Saturday night. So I hope he's not too beat up. I don't think he is. I don't think he's that type of person to stay beat up after a fight. But you know,
he's already on there talking about fights. On social media.
He's probably already talking about his next fight. You know,
and a lot of respect with these guys too. They were very friendly in our face-to-face series. They were very cordial at the press conference.
Yeah.
At the weigh-ins, they ran into each other several times in the hotel.
Yeah.
After every round, they're touching hands. You know, they hugged it out at the end. It was just that really was just the epitome of what the sport is.
Yeah.
We're good. We have to fight. And then after we're done fighting, I'm sure those two guys went out and had a drink or did whatever.
Sure.
It was just very cool. Both guys, and we keep saying, this guy was cool, that was good. Everybody was very cool. Let's just blanket statement it. Every fighter was great.
Yeah.
We had the chance to meet up and hang out with all of them. It was just all the way around. Everybody was really great.
Yeah, 100%. And the next fight on the card was the other anticipated rematch of the Tom and Diego was a rematch, but this fight was I don't know what you want to call it. I called it. I said this was the fans rematch. This was for me man, what do you want to call it? This was my most anticipated match, kind of leading up to this. And like I said, if I had Tom and Diego as one of my favorite matches, this is probably my other favorite match. If I had to really pick, both are rematch, oddly enough, for rematches. But Tony Lopez, Joey Beltran. Wow, the first fight was an absolute bloodbath.
Fight of the year.
Fight of the year.
Fight of the year.
This one, not as much blood, but just as much action. You know,
Right.
it was just as much action. It ended up going to a split draw, which I know neither guy. You don't want that because, you kind of miss out on that. I think that win bonus getting the draw, and it kind of sucks for both guys. It leaves you kind of unfinished, but. I think, and we talked to both guys afterwards, and Joey was, we asked him, does this mean that has to have another one? He's like, man, I think
they fought 20 rounds plus already total.
The amount of minutes, it's probably the amount of minutes and rounds they fought. He's like, man, I've just seen that guy enough in my life.
Right.
I've seen him way too much. It's time to move on. It was a great fight. The first fight was great. This fight was great. I think it's just time to move on, and I know Tony Lopez is already looking for another fight. That guy's on social media already
Monster.
looking. He's monster. Yeah. Both guys, man. And like you said, man, God, I feel like a broken record too. These guys are all fucking savages, but they're all really nice. They're really nice guys, but at the flip of a switch, these are the guys that you're not going to want to run into in a dark alley. None of them.
I'll tell you, the one thing I noticed that was kind of wild is Joey came in, and I feel like he got a chance to showcase his more technical side, rather than just play punchy face. Like the first fight, they just punched the shit out of each other. And Tony came in, man, he looked trim, light on his feet, bouncing around. It was just the same amount of action. But it just wasn't that let's just stand here and punch face kind of situation.
Yeah.
But again, a fight I would love to see the third time. The only difference is, like you said, these guys have already put in 30 rounds or 20 rounds between bare knuckle and MMA.
Yeah.
So who knows? Maybe down the road.
Maybe down the road, but you know what? I'm not mad if it doesn't happen again. I won't be upset because, like, I get it. Trust me, like I get it, and I'm not mad if it doesn't happen again. Would love for it to. I'll be there if it does happen again, but I get it, But all right, so moving on to the next.
There's more fight. Trust me. Over the course of this year, how many fights are we going to see that are going to have the same wow factor? Probably a bunch.
Well, that's what I'm saying too. Like there is no endless. Because BKFC, man, these guys are really just getting started. That was the number 4 card. There are so many matchups. I think that would be a fan's dream, that we could see over the next year, 2 years, that we wouldn't get tired of. And I think
they're 10 years ahead.
Oh my God!
I think they are. Like, I know it's their 4th show, and like we had talked to Dave about it in his interview. This didn't happen overnight.
Right.
It just seemed to pop up, but. By his 4th show, I already feel like they're probably where a normal running thing would be at the 10-year mark. I just think they hit the ground running so fast, and people were very receptive to it, and they gave it a shot, and here we are.
They've had all the right people. They've had all the right people in place that really gave them that extra. All those guys have years and years and years and years and years and years of experience, and like you said, they're way far ahead of where they should be. But you know what? They're kicking ass and taking names, man. They really are. Well, let's move up to the co-main event.
Yep.
Rowdy Beck, your favorite, against Cecilia Ulo Flores.
You got one right.
I got one right. I can't believe it. But, man, I think the story with this fight was Beck's experience and her determination against Cecilia's heart, right? I think this was the story of this one, that Beck was kind of out moving her, and she was better on the feet, and she had the better angles. But Cecilia really stuck to the, I think, kind of classic boxing kind of style, and was very moving in I don't want to say straight lines, but just very simple movement. And I don't mean that in a negative way. Just very simple movement, but she had a ton of heart, man. Every time you thought Beck nailed her and maybe she was going down, no, she came right back, and she gave Beck a run for her money. She had Beck hurting a couple times. She knocked out Beck's tooth.
Yeah.
I mean, she was a huge underdog coming in this fight. Not a lot of people knew who she was. After Saturday night, they know who she is now. They know who she is now.
It was kind of wild, too, when I was looking to do my predictions. I couldn't find anything on her. And I have to apologize that I just went ahead and assumed, this is going to be over inside of one round. But I think everybody, including Beck and Cecilia, it was a pleasant surprise. Beck got to go out there and showcase what she can do, offensively, defensively, against a tough as nails opponent.
Yeah.
And I feel like Cecilia is another one that will absolutely be back. Came out of nowhere, and there was no quit, nothing. She was willing to meet in the middle and throw down. It was just, man, I keep saying it. We sound like broken-ass records.
That's all
this
right.
fight was wild. That fight was wild. They were. The fights were insane, all of them.
You know what, though? And that's a testament to, and I don't want to sound like we're kissing their ass, because that's not the case. But it's just a testament to how good the card was. It's a testament to the matchmakers, to Nate Shook and Tarzan, the international matchmaker. It's just a testament to the athletes there. It's a testament to how good the fighters were. It's a testament to their heart, man. None of these guys had any quit in them. They just kept going and kept going and kept going. And Cecilia Flores, my God, I tell you what, I'm a huge fan. I don't care what she does from here on out. I'm going to follow her, whatever she does, because to be going up against someone like Beck Rawlings, the tons of experience she has, the skills that she has, everything that she possesses, and then you have this girl who comes in pretty much unknown, right? And she didn't have a pro bare knuckle boxing fight on her record. This was her first pro bare knuckle boxing fight. Here she is coming in, and how freaking tough she was. And I just can't say it enough. It was such an awesome story. Man, I don't know, man. I wouldn't be surprised if they ever had a chance to run it back. I'm not saying they have to, but if they ever had a chance to run it back, my God, I'm there. I mean, can you imagine what Cecilia Flores? It just shows you how good she is, right? How good Beck is, right? To kind of change up the game plan. Because I don't know. Maybe did Beck really expect that from her? I don't know. I don't know what Beck was thinking going into that fight, but
she does have a very good team behind her, though.
100%.
That will dig and find.
100%. And Beck made the right adjustments because of the pro and the vet that she is. She took Cecilia and said, okay, you're not going to go down easy. We're going to figure out another way around this. And like I said, she used her angles, her feet movement, and really just she was always staying one step ahead of Cecilia, and you saw that.
And speaking of history, because we've had her on the show, and it's always like every time you do this, it's something else. She's a champ now because she retained her Police Gazette Diamond Belt, and she's now also the WBF Latin bare knuckle boxing featherweight champion.
Yeah.
So we have a champ. It happens, and it's good. It's good. She's great for this sport, but so is Cecilia.
100%.
I don't want to get that messed up. I definitely want to see her back.
And that was the co-main event. So in the main event of the night, the Bad Boy versus the Hellboy, Leander Garcia versus Julian Lane. And that thing started off with fireworks. It ended with fireworks. The crowd was into it. Julian Lane knocked out. Leander Garcia knocked out Julian Lane in like the first or second minute of the second round. And he became the new WBF Latin middleweight bare knuckle boxing champion as well. So that was an exciting fight. It was a short fight. I almost wish there was more of it, but hey, it is what it is. But
that fight went down exactly the way I thought, except for who would win. I couldn't pick. So what happened? Julian stretched Leonard out in the first round.
Yeah.
Leonard gets up, boop, knocks Julian down twice. It was just, it was kind of like the Schafer Gorillo first fight. You know, like you knew it wasn't going the distance.
Yeah.
It wasn't going to happen. I don't know. I would watch that one again too. Well, there's a lot of those. I would watch that one again.
You know, and I think it was a fitting end. It was a fitting end to the show. I think it was an awesome main event. It was a great ending to the show. The crowd, that Mexican crowd, got behind Leonard Garcia, and it was an awesome end to an awesome night, awesome card, and but yeah, hats off to both of them. Hats off to Leonard Garcia for getting the job done. Hats off to Julian Lane. You know, I can't say it enough, man. I really can't say it enough. But so we did some, and we didn't want to do any confusion, but we kind of did our own awards, right, for the show, our Toe the Line awards.
Yeah. So for the fighters that know about it or saw they were tagged in the articles down, in fairness, it was taken down because we don't want what we're putting up to be confused with fighter bonuses that Bare Knuckle is actually going to give. So before we get into this, be advised, this is from us only. It's
not official. This is just we're just kind of, it's fun for us, right? We're just kind of divvying out this stuff and just fun for us. This isn't like official awards from Bare Knuckle.
This is just what we're looking at. So the first, we're going to pick fight of the night. It was hard to pick fight of the night because there was a bunch that could have been there. But I went with Chris Lytle and JC Yamas for fight of the night. As we talked about the fight, it was awesome. They were all awesome, but we had to pick one. That's who I went with. Josh, who do you have? Who would your fight of the night be?
Like I said, it's tough, man. When we talked, I think I would have to pick. God, if I have to pick one, and I feel like by picking one, I'm disrespecting the others, but it's not. That's not the case. It's just
we just have to pick one.
For me personally, I would say the Tom Diego fight. That was my fight of the night. Like I said, that demonstrated to me all of the elements that makes an awesome fight. So that's, to me, that's what mine was. But Chris Lytle, JC Yamas, it's hard. Like I said, I think there's several fights that could be. If you told me such and such was the fight of the night, I can't really make an argument.
You'd be like, I understand.
Yeah, like I understand. I can't really make an argument against it. But that's my pick for that.
All right, knockout of the night. There were some good finishes, but Travis the Animal Thompson did it in. I really believed his opponent was hurt, not just knocked out. I thought he was like fucked up for real.
We actually legit worried because where our table was on the side that he fell. I don't know if you could see us in the video, but where he fell, like his head was like boom. So when he fell down, we're like, oh shit.
Yeah, it was serious.
We thought he was really hurt. And we was concerned, but.
So we could agree that's a knockout of the night.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah, we can. I've got a close second with Shannon Rich, but that's. I think I would have to agree. Travis Thompson's knockout was a little more devastating than Shannon's was.
It was devastating.
So, but like I said,
next up, Tough Man or Tough Girl Award. Now, I was torn here. You probably have the same thoughts as me. I was torn between Diego, and I was torn between Cecilia. On who I would give it to. I personally went with Diego for the Tough Guy Award for the evening. If somebody were to pick Cecilia, same kind of thing. Like, I understand. I'm not gonna argue with you about it.
Yeah.
So who would get it for you?
I think to spread out the love, I can't argue with Diego one bit. There is no argument from me.
None.
But I would, just to kind of maybe spread out the love a little bit. Cecilia, like I knew what to expect when I saw Diego and Tom on paper and I saw the card. I knew both those guys are fucking tough. I didn't know anything about Cecilia, so right. I think from that perspective, I didn't know a lot about her, and she showed me something that it was all brand new to me from her. I'm gonna go with Cecilia because I was so impressed with the way Cecilia handled, Beck Rawlings.
Well, it's kind of funny you said that because we'll go into performance of the night.
Yeah.
Now, for me, it doesn't matter if you won the fight or lost the fight. It's how you performed with the adversity that you had and, what you made out of it. So for me, Cecilia Flores was the performance of the night. I take nothing away from Beck Rawlings for winning the fight.
Yeah.
But in all honesty, in my mind, she was my pick to win the fight. I didn't know anything about Cecilia, but now I do. I will be handing her the performance of the night award.
I'll tell you what, I agree with you 1,000%. That's my pick too, and I will say this too. And like you said, someone's got to win the fight. Someone's got to lose the fight, and it doesn't take anything away, from being the loser of the fight, from having the performance of the night. But in order for great champions to become greater, they have to get tested, right? And I think Cecilia presented a test to Beck. She put her in that dogfight situation that, that Beck was going to have to really stick it to her to win the fight. She wasn't going to hand it to Beck. She wasn't going to be intimidated by Beck. She wasn't going to be overshadowed by Beck's, long career. She wasn't going to be, that wasn't going to mess with her, at all in this fight. She was going to make Beck fight this dog war, fight her fight. And I think Beck is, I think it raised Beck's stakes, just a little bit. Being in that dog war, being tested like that. So, no, 100%. Performance of the night, Cecilia Flores.
Then we'll go with the badass moment of the night. I really don't think this one can be argued. But if you have an argument, please let me hear it. Has to go to the champ. She literally got a tooth knocked out. It shot in the back of her throat. She choked on it, gagged it up, spit it out, and continued the fight. I don't feel like there was a lot of badass moments, but not almost choked to death on your own tooth and finish the fight badass. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I mean, we could discuss it if you want, but I don't think there's a whole lot to discuss. So we can move on to the next, the dominant performance. We'll just move on. You're not going to change my mind.
No, there's no discussion for me anyway. I'm right there. Okay.
Dominant performance. Unfortunately, you didn't get to see a lot of it because you were in the back doing the interviews at that time. But I think the most dominant performance of the night came from Joe Diesel Riggs.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he was very dominant, but it was like dominating a brick wall. The kid just... We already spoke about him before, Rudo Tovar. He kept it real. He kept it real. And but Joe Riggs did what Joe Riggs does and just put his experience to work, and it worked out for him. You got one that's different? See, that's kind of a loaded question because you didn't get to see the first couple rounds of that one.
I don't know, because a lot of the fights were hard. I don't know if I'd say a lot of the fights were really dominant one way or the other. The only exception the Shannon Rich Omar Molina fight, because even though it was only 40 seconds, whatever
26.
It was, 20. Okay, even better, 26 seconds. That was 110% Shannon Rich. It was just from the opening moment he was throwing those bombs. So. That's who I would pick, only because I saw it. Like I said, I only saw, I think, maybe the last round of that fight, the Joe Riggs fight. So, right. I'm not really going to make a argument on that one way or the other.
Then we have the fan favorite award. Unfortunately, this isn't something we get to pick. We talked to people on social media. We talked to people that were going to the fights in the hotel, and talked to everybody over the last 6 to 8 weeks. Who do you like? What do you blah blah blah? Why are you going to see blah blah? So, champ, Rowdy Beck again. And this is not something we get to decide. This is by the numbers. That's who a lot of people. Don't get me wrong. There was hundreds of votes for just about everybody on the card.
Yeah.
There was people for Tony Lopez, Joey Beltran, like everybody had been on the radar, and there was a couple that were very, very close, but she kind of edged it out at the end. I don't like having ties, but this next one, I refuse to pick. There's no way. The Mr. Nice Guy Award sounds kind of weird, but we got to meet up with everybody, and again, not taking anything away from a single person that fought that night. Everybody was great. I would have just good words for all of them. But I have a tie I can't pick between who Sam Shoemaker and Tony Lopez might be the nicest people you could ever run into when they're not punching your face in. Obviously. I can't even pick. It's impossible for me to pick.
Yeah, and you know what? And I think for me, when we talked about the award, and like I said, it's not that nobody else is a nicer guy or nothing like. For me, I would say the winner of this award is the nicest guy, and then at the flip of a switch is the absolute savage, and they're both right.
Yep.
For me, that's what this award is. That they are both ends of the spectrum. They're extremely cool guys, and then
but can you pick one?
But I can't. That's tough, man. Because like I said, a lot of those guys were nice and savages. But my God, no. I think Tony Lopez and Sam Shoemaker. That's damn close, man. That's damn close. God.
I wrote this one and I made picks, and then I was like, I should delete this shit because I can't figure it out. But I'm gonna stick with both. I can't. You want a minute? We'll move on and we'll stop back to see if you can pick one.
I can't. I don't think I can, man.
We'll just stick with both.
Well, because there's so many. Beltran was a nice guy, and he's an absolute savage. I mean, there's so many.
Tom Schoaf was nice. Diego was nice. Beck was nice.
Travis is such a nice guy, but he's an absolute savage. He's an animal. I just don't know. That's a tough one, man. That's a tough award. That's a really tough. You should take that off because it's so freaking tough to decide that. You need to take that award off. I'm calling it right now because I think we're going to be in this position every single time. It's just most of these guys. Yeah, you think some of these fighters would be dicks or something, but they're not. I don't think we met the first guy that had any kind of attitude or nothing. But
nope. So then we went to the fastest finish award. We don't really have to. This is again. It is what it is. That's 26 seconds kind of gets it. So, Shannon the Cannon Rich, you win. Congratulations. Debut fighter of the night. Now, I'm kind of on that same got to spread the love around because there's a lot of people that fought for the first time. Bare knuckle. That did well. Cecilia, obviously, she could be in the running for several awards. But I gave debut fighter to Rudo Tovar. I just saw something in him, even though his opponent got the dominant performance. There's just something in him or about him. I don't know. I'm going with him. Gut feeling. And he sure did enough in the fight to earn it. So who would you pick? I like going first because now the pressure's off me.
I gotta go with Cecilia Flores, man.
Yeah, I can't argue it. Can't argue it.
I gotta go with Cecilia. Like I said, I can't speak enough about her. I was so impressed by her Saturday night, and her heart. Somebody that has that much heart and that much to be able to dig that much. You see plenty of guys, MMA, boxing, bare knuckle. You see plenty of guys that are skilled and talented, and they can do amazing things. But there comes something that you can't teach.
Yeah.
And that's that heart and that, that ability to dig and to make it a dogfight and to not, like I said, not give up, and that's rare, man. That really is. I mean, all these guys are tough guys, and we've heard fighters say, once you get to that level, everybody's a tough guy, right? Everybody's tough. No one's questioning their toughness, but to really be able to dig deep like that, I think it's super rare, and I think that she, it's a rare quality, and I've got to go with her.
Man, I'll tell you, plus the staff, everybody on staff should get some kind of something.
Yeah.
Dave Feldman, his entire staff, all the staff at the Grand Oasis, the staff at Estadio Beto Avila, the baseball stadium. Everything just went well. I mean, obviously there's hiccups here and there, but everything went, I believe, the way it was meant to go.
Yeah.
It was just a really good event. It was well planned. Everything was there. But in other news, we have the schedule. The schedule for the 2019 schedule. Let me bring it up here. I don't want to give any inaccurate information. And if I didn't look at this, I would absolutely give inaccurate information.
What else? I'll post it. I'll fly it up on the screen. I'll post a graphic on the screen.
Yeah, but I want to find it now because I know I have it. I'm usually very organized. Here it is. All right. So there was supposed to be a March card, which is no longer in the works. So Saturday, April 6th, Manchester, New Hampshire, will be BKFC 5. Then at the end of April, Saturday, April 20th, back in Biloxi, Mississippi, BKFC 6. Saturday, June 1st, almost 1 year to the day that they started, back in Cheyenne, Wyoming, will be 7. July 27th for 8, head into London, England, international trip number 2. We'd like to go, in case anybody watching this is interested in knowing that. And the final card of the year, is back in Mexico City, August 24th. All promising cards. I don't even know who's on the cards, but I guarantee you they'll be good fight cards. What else did we see? Oh, ran into Anthony Rumble Johnson, who's now fighter relations for BKFC.
Yeah.
So shout out to Anthony Johnson. We'll actually be having him on in the next week or so to talk about, I don't know, how he even got involved. Yeah. He should fight. Nobody want to get hit by that, though, I don't think. And he told me he's not the right kind of crazy for no gloves.
Right.
So I respect a man of that size for saying that. What else happened over the weekend that was great? Oh, for anybody interested in the Hall of Fame induction for 2019 for the Bare Knuckle Boxing Hall of Fame, the induction letter is posted on our site. I'm not going to go through it all now, but it is there. Scott Burt announced it all at the press conference, and we put the article up shortly after. Also, for all your news for the Bare Knuckle Boxing Hall of Fame and National Police Gazette, we are the official media outlet for both. So anything that goes on with them, we'll be getting it. Who are you pointing at? Are you pointing at my box in the corner?
I'm pointing at you.
You're pointing at my box in the corner. So yeah, we're the official outlet for Bare Knuckle Boxing Hall of Fame and Police Gazette. Also, their induction will be in Knuckletown, in New York. I call it Knuckletown. Is that okay? He calls it Knuckletown.
Belfast.
It is Belfast, New York. The weekend of July 13th. I believe they said it was $55 a ticket for the weekend, and you get food, and you get to meet people, and you get to tour the barns. So I will buy a ticket to go. Even though we're covering it, I will still buy a ticket just to support the cause, because Scott has done We're not even going to talk about how much time and effort Scott's got into the Hall of Fame because that would take a whole episode to do it.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. What do you got? Anything to wrap this up? It was pretty wild. I'm ready to go back.
No, Cancun was. I tell you what, and it's not even negative because it is what it was hot. I was hot as shit.
Oh,
the whole trip. But like it's not a negative. It is what it is. It's Cancun. You're right there at the equator. What do you expect? I'm not, But no, man, it was amazing. Great food. My only legit. I wish we had more time to eat more of the food down there. There was a few restaurants I wanted to try that we didn't get around to, but there's just so much great food down there. And the resort was awesome. Like I said, the show was awesome. Everything was awesome. And no, man, it's just on to the next one. We don't have. We're jumping right back into it again.
Waiting on April information, so the face-to-face series will live on.
Yep, and we got stuff coming up. We got a lot of big stuff coming up, guys. So I don't even know how to say this. We can't let all the cats out of the bags, but we got a lot of big things coming up. We got a lot of big things on the burner. We got a lot of big things that are cooking.
We got lots of burners.
Lots of burners. Lots of opportunities. Lots of places that we could be going over the next, 30 days, over the next few weeks. There's a few opportunities. So,
yes, sir.
Just keep informed to us. Please subscribe to our YouTube, youtube.com/Combat Insiders. Leave us a like. Leave us a comment. Check out our Facebook. Check out our Twitter. All of it /Combat Insiders. Please, please, please. We've grown so much over the past few months, and we, thank you so much to those that have supported us. This trip was a direct result of that. Without you guys supporting us, it wouldn't have happened. Without you guys following us and giving us your feedback and this and that, it wouldn't have happened. And we appreciate it so much more than you know. And like I said, just kind of maybe show us that love. Again, like I said, like us and share our stuff. Everything that we're putting out, we're going to be putting out so much content over the next few weeks and just really moving forward. There's so many big things I wish we could announce, but we can't just quite yet. So, but
plus there's more post-fight interviews going up.
Oh man, yeah, there's more stuff coming up. I mean, there's no shortage of content, but I don't want to ramble, man. But like I said, we appreciate everything that you guys do. That's Nick Portella over there. I'm Joshua Furs over here. We are Combat Insiders. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you again.
Let's go.